Great, great. And today, this is the first meetup of this year. So it's really going to be a hit and top notch. So we really want your engagement, and your energy should be high, totally high. We want that. So yes, before that, I want to know that who are the one who are visiting this office for the first time. Can you raise hands? Amazing, superb, superb. I mean, you have taken a right decision. So great to see you in the first meetup here, and you're starting pretty well. So yes, this is GeekyAnts here, and today we are having the first one, as you know that. So today, especially for the entire thing, we'll be having. I'll tell you the flow first. There will be two speakers, then there will be a break, and then again we are having two speakers. There will be two breaks initially, and after that we will be having at the end we'll be having a snacks and the networking, and also fun activity which will be having a surprise from our side. So and there'll be a booth also, as you will see outside. We have two areas. One is this as inside, we have outside as well. We'll be having a photo booth. So I will request that everyone, whenever you get time in the break, you can take pictures and you can post in the social media, especially in the Instagram, and you can put stories. And the person who is having a you can say first come first serve one, we'll check the first 20 members will be given up prizes for that, and that was also be disclosed later. So this is something which is a really good one. You can try that. And yes, what is GeekyAnts, by the way? GeekyAnts is a product development studio with an AI driven customer centric approach. And here we have different communities also. We have GeekyAnts events, we have design community as well, and React native community also. So yeah, so we have amazing products. You must have heard about the native base. You can check it out. And also we have GlueStack, which is a universal UI library tool. You can check in the internet and you'll come to know many things about that. Yeah. So this is my handle here. You can add me. You can send the request for that, for the LinkedIn and the X. And yeah, GeekyAnts this one, and GlueStack, as I just had a word. We have different speakers from our company who has contributed to the stage in a global stage as a speaker, and also we have exhibited in the last years, you can say before a couple of months, which was in November. So that was a GITEX. You must have heard, right? Who has heard about this GITEX one? Anybody? Okay. But yes, you'll be able to know, shortly. This is a conference, a huge conference happening in different regions, in Singapore, in Dubai, in Berlin as well, European region. So you'll come to know this here as well about this thing. We have a couple of pictures which we have participated with the clients, with the audiences, and we have visited for and exhibited for Rep Summit as well, which was in Lisbon. It was again on November, and this was quite good. It was huge, actually. The audience, the entire, infrastructure over there was amazing. And yes, we have one domestic, which was in Bangalore itself. This we did. We have exhibited in Bangalore. It was a Bangalore Tech Summit, which was again amazing one, and a lot of learning, a lot of fun over there. And yes, this one, I hope you must have heard. How many of them have heard? I know you are for the first time in GeekyAnts, majority. But how many of you have heard about the GeekConf? Anybody? Excellent, excellent. Wow, lovely. So this is the first ever conference which we did in Berlin, and which was a top hit, and which was in July. And you can still go to the website, thegeekconf.com, and you can able to check the live stream which was done, and even for the remote as well. You can have an idea how it was. And yes, this was a few pictures which I just thought to show you. This one, which was the venue over there, which was beautiful. And yes, we have got just yesterday a huge milestone for GeekyAnts. It was 100 reviews, 4.9 rating from the Clutch. So this was a huge achievement from GeekyAnts. And this is a, yeah, thank you. And this is a code of conduct, which is very important for all of you to adhere that. Do not use any hate speech and inappropriate comments. Be respectful and refrain from using strong words. Get to know your fellow attendees and speakers. Yes, so network is that which everybody need to do that because this is the most important factor which you attend all the meetups, right? So I believe that you must have come to do at least 5 to 10 numbers of networking here, which is very important for everybody. So keep your questions after the talk or networking sessions. I feel that after speakers will go, then we have 2 breaks, in fact, and of course at the end we'll be having enough time to have a networking. So please utilize that. Maintain silence while a speaker is giving their talk, and most importantly, whenever the speaker will be on the stage, you can scream and you can, shout and scream and do a lot of clapping in that. Yeah? How? So you can do that, right? Great. Yes, so this is the code of conduct for you. And yes, this is the Wi-Fi. You can scan and you can just utilize the Wi-Fi here. I can give you 15 seconds for that. And if you couldn't able to scan, then you can write also GeekyAnts GNA capital added guest 2023. We'll of course change the year. Is it done? Thumbs up. Got it? Perfect. Yeah, so we'll start now. So here, and yes, before I start with the keynote speaker and also short quizzes there before that, I want to know that, I mean, there are 2 groups actually, right? As I told that the stream and the energy has to be skyrocketing. So I just want to check before we start. So I'll just tell 3, 2, 1. I just want to check the energy. Just tell, ooh, like that. We just want to see that, okay? 3, 2, 1. Everybody. Not really. This is still, you can say 10%. Believe me. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's at least better. We can accept that for sure. And yes, I want the same thing for every speakers, whoever will be coming on the stage. So yes, I'll start with the first one here. This is the short quiz. So I will request Sanket Sahu, who is the CTO of GeekyAnts here. So please welcome on the stage.
I think this is fine. Yeah. Hey, everyone. Good to see happy faces. I know, enough of a sponsorship of GeekyAnts. Let's get to the juice and something that gets you guys excited. Let's talk about tech. Yeah? Great. Before my keynote, I've got a little quiz which we have prepared. So raise your hand if you know the answer, and I'll point to the person, and then you can answer the question. And we have got some little prizes and gifts. Okay, let's get going. Excited? Yeah? Okay, before this, how many of you are React Native developers here? Very few. And how about React developers? Most of them? Okay. Do we have any native Android, native iOS developer? Okay, 2, 3 of you. Okay, good to see native people coming to the web meetups. Will keep you happy, I hope. But yeah, how well do you know React Native? The first question that we have is, what hook can replace component did mount in functional components there? Okay, we've got the first winner, use effect. Yes.
Yeah. Use effect with no dependency array.
No dependency added. That's nice. And what's your name?
Bapu Pradhan.
Okay. So yeah, round of applause for him. The next question is, which component would you use for a scrollable view with dynamic content in React Native? I've got a hand there. And what's your name?
Vishwanath.
Vishwanath,
Yeah.
your answer is correct. So flat list, yes. Yeah. Great. Third question. Which prop allows passing data to a component via React navigation? How can you pass data? What's the name of the prop? Okay. Param is the right answer. Yeah. Actually, it's not param. Yes. No. Param is the closest answer. It's params, I guess. Yeah, but yeah, you get it. So yeah. We've got the fourth question. What tool do you use to debug JavaScript in React Native? Go ahead. React Native debugger, and where does that work? Okay, and what's your name? Okay, Round of applause for Gautam. What are you giving, Prem, by the way? Just stickers? People would stop answering later. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, more than speakers. Sorry, stickers. Next question. What is the name of the React state management library created by Dan Abramov? Redux, and what's the name? Arun. Arun gets another sticker plus something surprise later.
It's there as a backup.
Okay, next question is what's the primary difference between use memo and use callback there? Yeah. Values, yes, there you go. And what's the name? Sanskar? Okay. And what does your t-shirt say? Offline. Pretty online with this answer. Okay. Seventh question. How do you manage local state for animation in React Native? React Native developers? Any other hands? Because I have seen that person for the third time. Yeah, go ahead.
Use ref,
Use ref in React Native?
like there is animations component in React Native.
Yes, but do you need use ref? Use ref, you can do it with a JS thread and you can loop through it and then set the native value. But that will go through the JS thread. Is there a native way of animating?
There is a request animation frame.
That's web. Vishwanath, go ahead. That's right. Yes. Are we giving another sticker to the same guy? Yeah. And does he work at GeekyAnts? No. Okay. What is the purpose of use imperative handle in React Native? You can. Okay. Go ahead. That is request animation frame. Yes. Close, not child, but yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Similar.
So I mean, in React, it is generally used to get the reference you like the use refs reference functions. Like we can pass custom functions from the child to the parent via this use imperative handle.
And where do you use this in what scenario?
So if we want to restrict the like restrict some of the like suppose you are passing the input from the child to parent, but we
Okay.
want to restrict some of the methods or add some custom methods, then we can use this.
So when you want to break the rules of React, can I say that we'll have to use something like use ref and use imperative handle?
Yeah, you can use it.
Okay, that's the right answer. Yeah. Okay. What are these two things in React Native, Hermes and JSC, JS Core? Yes, engines, JavaScript engine. Yes, that's the right answer, Manish. Yeah. These two are interesting engines, by the way. I'm not sure. A lot more people in the JS ecosystem should know about these engines, especially static Hermes. Static Hermes is the next generation of Hermes engine, which is way more advanced than Hermes. It can do static type checking, and it is sometimes even faster than native code. So works well for Manish as a native developer. So yeah, these two are, and go and check it out. How do you handle deep linking in React Native? What's the package that's, yeah, go ahead. Expo linking is one of the options. Yes. So yeah, what's your name? Karthik. Yeah. It's React Native deep linking library, which is more native and original. How can you implement background tasks in React Native? Go ahead. Using? I'm not sure.
We have to declare that in native side, and then we have to catch that in React Native, so that we can run any task in background.
Oh, okay. I have not used it. Maybe you are right. If anybody can just validate that answer from the audience, not sure. Probably will come back to you later. Anyone else? Yeah. It's not a background task. Native background tasks are way different. It can run when the app is closed. That's a very Node.js thing, child thread. Yeah. That's a web related thing. So native background threads are totally different, and it has to be hooked at a very native Android and native iOS level. And there is a package that bridges both the things using React Native background tasks packages. It comes in Expo as well, I think, installed in Expo by default. But yeah, this is handled very differently on the native layer. It is handled outside the JS engines. Okay, we'll move on. What hook would you use to manage side effects and functional components? Yeah, what's your name? Okay, Rohit gets it. And okay, this is related to, again, promotion. Which CSS and JS solution does GlueStack UI version 2 uses? Go ahead. Yes, you're right, Karthik. Yeah, Karthik, right? Yeah. And we've got two more questions. What makes GlueStack UI different from traditional component libraries? Not you. You have answered two already. Anyone else? Yes, that's one of the answers. That's right. Yeah. And what's your name? Abhinav. Yeah, gets it. And the last question, how does GlueStack UI approach component customization? Anyone? Okay, so this is similar to ShadCN if you have used ShadCN at all. So it gets copied to your project and you can modify the class names and customize it. Or you can also like update the Tailwind config file and do that. That's all for the question. A huge round of applause for all of you. Okay, I think that's it for the questions. I've got some keynote topic about the state of React Native, just to give you guys an idea, a glimpse of where React Native stand today. And let's talk about it. Yeah. Thank you so much, Prem. Okay. Okay, we did not plan this to be, I mean, this was an independent keynote, so you might have some repetition with what Prem said. So that's me on the internet. I'm Sanket Sahu. I am one of the co-founders of GeekyAnts. And yeah, thank you so much for coming and dropping by. We do meetups, as Prem said already. Native Base is one of the open source library that we created. It's one of the famous GitHub projects with more than 20,000 stars on GitHub. It reached about 100K weekly downloads at one point on NPM. And it's now the successor of Native Base is GlueStack, which you can use to build web and mobile apps. So this one more like write once and run everywhere, which follows the philosophy of React Native. A little bit about me, you might know me from this tweet, which went viral at one point in Bangalore. So I built this caravan, fully off-grid caravan, where I can sleep, work, and eat. And I sometimes take it to places in and around Bangalore. It's also parked downstairs. If you want to have a look later, please go ahead. And yeah, this is the meetup group. This is the stage. There's a picture from this stage. This was the last, I think, one of the React Native meetups. And we are thriving. We are world's largest React Native meetup group with close to 8,000 people. No other React Native meetup group in the world come close to this one. And since we are so big, we have started doing React alongside with React Native. And as Prem mentioned, we also did run React Native conference in Berlin last year in July, August. There's a few pictures from there. It was a successful conference. We did that in a beautiful church in Berlin. And we had speakers from different companies like Expo, core React Native contributors from Meta, and all the places. So yeah, and this year we are taking it forward, and let's have a look at like where React Native stand today. React Native by the numbers. So this was around year 2020, where we had the weekly download around 370K. 370K weekly download of React Native package. And it's growing. It was in 2020. We are 4 years fast forward, 2025, 2024. Any guesses how much is that today? From 375K to today. Huh? Close to 10 times. So we are close to 3 million weekly downloads. And it's growing. The last time when I presented the state of React Native, which was a keynote talk at the GeekConf in Berlin 5-6 months back, we had 2.25 million. In just span of like, what, 5-6 months, it's grown all the way to 3 million downloads, weekly downloads. So you can imagine the impact that React Native is having. And a few tweets. One surprising thing that Harry learned at the Chain React conference, which is one of the React Native conferences in the US, was that the Kindle apparently uses React Native. And there were so many wow moments yet to be discovered. There are, actually, when it comes to companies using React Native on their custom hardware. So this is one of the big companies is going to announce something in the React Native space as well, which is still under close NDA. We can't reveal their name. But yeah, this tweet is talking about that on custom hardwares. Let's have a look at the top 100 business apps as of May 2024. You can see that out of 100, 26 of them use React Native in some extent. So React Native can be used partially, or it can be used fully as a greenfield 100% React Native app, or it can have some screens. For example, the Facebook app, the marketplace section in the Facebook app, it uses React Native. It's not 100% React Native. While we have different apps like Shopify. Shopify is, I think they have more than 250 screens built using React Native in their main app. So Flutter is around 3 and Cordova is around 8, which is amazing to see. And this is a stat almost like 8-9 months back. So you can imagine that it's growing rapidly. And even we at GeekyAnts, the number of requests that we are getting from our clients, it's increasing, it's skyrocketing. Even like top banking organization in India are betting on React Native. We saw that React Native went from being a library to the framework approach. Now they are recommending using React Native frameworks, something like Expo on their main website, which completes the loop in some sense that the way we have Next.js for React, we have Expo for React Native. And the community is growing rapidly. I have a few tweets. The first one is from Nishan. Nishan used to work with us. He's a super intelligent person, and he's been contributing to React Native core. And like every month he does like few commits to React Native core. He recently added the support of gradients, also CSS rotation, and CSS grid as well, and percentage support. So he's doing it on his own, and that's the beauty of the community. I mean, he's not doing it from a company, he's not getting paid, but he's just doing it because he believes that this can have a larger impact, and he truly likes doing it. So that's the beauty of any open source project, that any random person from anywhere in the world, they can create a PR and then get it merged, and that can have like billion people impacted. Okay. We had few other things which was missing from React Native, like box shadow and corner radius, how it differs between Android and iOS. And this is the API request that I ran on the React Native core repo, and got all these pictures of top contributors. And that's where we stand, like React Native core contributors, changing the world in their own ways. Let's look at the companies using React Native. Amazon got recently added to the showcase page of React Native, where we have Amazon Shopping, Alexa, Photos, and a bunch of different apps. Google recently supported in their project IDX, which is similar to VS Code, runs online, and they are now officially supporting React Native. So that's what the whole community is doing. Like, it takes a village. There are different companies joining hands and trying to build the next cross-platform solution. And the interesting part is that it was started at Meta, but now all the companies are like contributing. If we have React Native for Windows, Microsoft is actively working on it. We have Amazon working on it, and a few other companies as well, including GeekyAnts. So yeah, this is what makes React Native. And the recent announcement of the 74 version of React Native has a lot more portability, and the line is actually blurring between web and mobile. So we have got the new architecture. We have got Yoga layout, which behaves close to web. We have got yeah, all the little pieces. And it's like, if you are a web developer, which I see there are more web developers here, you can easily use the same learning and knowledge to build real native mobile apps. And we've got the new architecture, which is bridgeless by default. Now, this is with Hermes and static Hermes. The performance is skyrocketing. You don't get the lag that you used to on cross-platform solutions. Yeah, and as I said, embracing web standards, browser-like APIs in React Native. One of the experiments at Meta by Naman and team, who also spoke at one of the conferences here in Bangalore, was React Strict DOM, which makes the API of React Native very similar to web. And an example of this, my friend tweeted Nader that you can now build mobile apps with HTML. And this is not Ionic. If you look at the code that's running, it's html.div, html.h1, html.button, and all those existing things. It has the callback with onClick. But this is not running a web view like Ionic, Cordova. This is an actual native view that's rendering. And that's the beauty of React Native and where it's moving with React Strict DOM. And the styling library is StyleX, again by Meta. The Starlink by SpaceX, which is a testimony in itself that it has got all those WebGL rendering with sky scanning and the 3D rendering of the whole sky, right? This works natively inside React Native. So you can just code and load like 3D models. Yeah, Web GPU was announced at AppJust conference by William, and here is an example of what it can do. So you can build like flawless games now in React Native using the Web GPU. And yeah, also the Vision OS came out last year, and people at CallStack did not stop there. They are building the Vision OS compatibility of React Native as well, which is so nice to see. Then we have tooling. This is by another company called Software Mansion, and they have built an IDE, which is like a plugin on top of VS Code, and you can use React Native IDE to like debug your React Native application. So React Native is everywhere, and everywhere as in like universal. It's available on native devices. It's available on Windows, iOS, macOS, TV, and code sharing is going to be the thing for the future. That's what I believe in. And these companies are sharing code. Like, if you have used Uber on web, or maybe x.com on your mobile phones, not in the app, it uses React Native Web. And similar is the story with a bunch of other companies. And Expo router is making it possible, which is one of the libraries. Now, this is similar to Next.js routing in some sense, file-based routing, and you can do a lot more. And as I mentioned about GlueStack UI, we are using native Wind, which is the counterpart of Tailwind. It uses the same API of Tailwind, but on the native side. You can use the same old class name that you know, right, from say bg-red 500 or things like that, and build native mobile apps. And that's why we built GlueStack UI version 2 on top of the native Wind API. And it's similar to ShadCN. I'm pretty sure you guys must have used ShadCN in your web projects. It's similar to that, but now this works everywhere. We also had the survey of React Native, which had some opinions. The ultimate opinion of state of React Native was console.log and copy paste is the future. I just made that up just to wake you guys up. Come on. Okay, React Native is moving in the right direction, and people do strongly agree that, okay, the sentiment of React Native is going positive. And we Looking into the future, it looks like that it's going to grow and it's enterprise ready. That's what we are seeing, at least from the top enterprises in India and even in different countries. More stable, more reliable, and expanding platforms, right ones run everywhere. Bridging platforms and empowering developers. That's the state of React Native. To get this off started, I'll call speakers. But before that, just real quick GIFs and videos about what you can do in React Native. So this is, you see the animation, like how it changes in a very native feel. This is another one. All these animations are built using React Native, and it feels like very, very native. Then some experiments by Kathleen, and then Parallax. This was very cool. And then a few more by Enzo, and also by William. William built this using Skia. Skia is the graphics engine used by Flutter and also Chrome. So now that's natively possible to do it in React Native as well. So yeah, that's from my side. Thank you so much for listening to me. And let's welcome the next speakers. Thank you so much.
Guys, can we have a huge round of applause for Sanket, please?
Thank you.
Thank you, Sanket.
Agenda.
So yes, we'll move to the next speaker now, and his name is Rajat Chaudhary. He will talk about breaking barrier web developers in mobile app world, and he's a software engineer of GeekyAnts. So please welcome him on the stage. Just 2 minutes. If you are still joining, yeah, so I request you to just come in the front. We have few seats available. Please come.
Thank you. Okay, so yes, good afternoon, everyone. So let me ask you all a question. How many of you are web developers? You can raise your hands. Okay, and how many of you wants to start your career with React Native but are scared? Anyone? Okay. Okay, so today I'm here to take your fear away. So thanks to all coming on weekend to attend this workshop. My name is Rajat Chaudhary, and I am software engineer 2 in GeekyAnts. And today I'm gonna talk on breaking barriers for web developers in mobile app world. So let's start with a story of a boy named Kabir, who has just started his career in tech industry as a web developer. But now he wants to start with React Native. But he got intimidated when he saw that he has to use view, text, and style sheet, CSS in JS, instead of div, h1 tag, and the class names to create a same UI in mobile devices. So now Kabir is confused. Should he start with React Native? But what if I say that React Native development is now easier than ever, and you can get the same UI on mobile devices using the below code? Here we are using class names in React Native, and here comes the output. Wait a second. We are using class names in React Native. Is this possible? So yes, class names are supported in React Native because of class names are supported in React Native because of native Wing, and no need to use style sheet. So what is native Wing? So native Wing is a styling library which helps you use utility like Tailwind, Tailwind like utility classes in React Native, and it uses Babel plugin, which helps you resolve class names to style sheet at build time. So no runtime overhead. Oh, Kabir felt a sense of relief. So, but now Kabir has a doubt. Actually, he uses shared scene components to directly create a website, but I hope you all must have heard about shared scene. Yes. Okay. I didn't get the voice from this side. So for those who don't know, shared scene provides copy pastable components that you can directly use in your app made with Tailwind CSS. And these components are fully accessible and customizable. And they uses uh, okay, and they uses UI primitives for accessibility. So let's have a demo of how shared scene works. So here I have taken an example of Next app where I have initialized, where I have initialized shared CN in it. And after initialization, I want to use, let's say, a button component. So I have uses this command, npx shared CN at the rate latest add button. So what this command do, it creates a in a components UI directory, it just directly copy paste the code of the button component. And you can just directly import that component and uses it. And here comes the output. What if Kabir gets a similar code for native devices also? So here is an example of a button component, and here comes the output on the native device. Can anyone guess which component library is this? Anyone? Okay, so it's GlueStack. So what is GlueStack? GlueStack is a component library which provides beautifully designed copy-pastable components, and these components are fully accessible and customizable. So let's have a demo how GlueStack UI works. So here I have taken an example of a Expo app that you can create an Expo app using this command, and let's have a live demo of it. Okay, so yes, here is the Expo app, and yes, this is a basic Expo app that I have used. So let's initialize GlueStack UI in it. So here I run the command npx GlueStack UI at the rate latest init. So yes, until the GlueStack UI is getting initialized in our Expo app, let's have a quick go. Okay, I have written a wrong command, sorry. npx GlueStack UI at the rate latest init. Yes. Okay, so until the Expo app is GlueStack UI is getting initialized in our Expo app, let's go through the documentation. So here is the GlueStack UI website, where in the docs, if you go, there you will find a list of all the components, and like here we want to use the alert. So you can search for the alert component here, and yes. So and from here you can copy paste the basic example of the alert component, and you can directly use it in your app. So yes, it is getting initialized, taking a lot, a little bit time. My system is a little slow. Okay, yes. So GlueStack UI is initialized, and let's add a button, say alert component. npx gluestack UI at the rate latest, add, let's say, alert and an icon component. You can use the command add -- all to add all the components in at once. So yes, it is, yeah. So now the component is added in our GlueStack UI repo. Sorry, in the Expo app. So here in the components UI directory, you can see that the alert and the icon components are added. And let's say okay. Is it okay? Yeah. Okay, so now let's say I want to use the alert component. So directly from the website, I can just copy paste this basic example I'm taking, and I can use it over here. Const alert demo. And yes, I have copy pasted the alert component, and here I'm taking info icon is getting imported from the icon component, and the alert text with description of alert. And let's call this function here alert demo. Now let's run the app and see how it will look like on our native devices. So let's start an Expo app. Let's first see the output on the iOS device. Okay, so yes, here you can see the alert component that is being created here. And let's see the output on the Android device also. It's a cache issue. Okay, so yes, you can see the example of the alert component in both of these devices, Android and iOS. Let's say I don't like this action, it's very dull, it's not visible even. So let's change the action here, and here we are using muted. Let's say we use success here. And yes, it got updated. Okay, so what if I want to create some different action on my own? I want to customize this component. So here in the components UI directory, in the alert component, here you can directly create a own action on your own. Let's say I have created an action named primary and given a BG color to it, violet 300. And same for the alert text and for the alert style, I want it. So in the alert icon also, I will directly add an action named primary and the text color to it. And let's say we can pass this action primary here. Oh yes, it got updated on both the devices. So will this work for web also? Let's check it out. Let's press W here. And yes, it works for web as well. So a single component library that works on all the three platforms, iOS, Android, and web. It is universal. And we can say that the web and the native worlds are merging with Expo 52, GlueStack UI, and Native Wind. You won't even realize if you are creating a native or a web app. So now, should Kabir, okay, nice take. So now, should Kabir start with React Native? Yes. Okay, yeah. So here, one thing that I like the most and I would like to add here, with the GlueStack, with the Expo latest update, we can find it about the ES hosting that they introduced. they have introduced ES hosting on 14th of Jan from their Twitter account. And here you can see the post from the Expo handle. So what is this ES hosting? So like earlier, ES is only for the native devices, Android and iOS. But now with the recent update, you can deploy a web app also. So the direction in which the Expo is going, I can say that the entire stack and the environment that Expo is creating, I have a question in my mind that do you think there is a need of a web-only framework like Next.js? Think of it. At the end, I would like to say, from barriers to bridges, let's keep building. Thank you. You can scan this QR code and follow me on Twitter. Thank you. Okay, okay. Mhm.
So basically, the question is why we are not using the Tailwind CSS. Instead, we are using the SAD CN mostly, right? Because Tailwind CSS also provide the pre-inbuilt components.
Because Shersian provides more, the point that I say, the Shersian components are more accessible and customizable, and they uses Redux UI primitives for accessibility.
But
So
Tailwind is also providing the like that one.
for the accessibility.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not aware of this thing about. I will let you know about the end.
And one more questions: why we can't create such a bundler to create whole React.js at a once to a mobile application? Why it is so difficult?
Okay, so about the
Because you are
native
talking
India.
about the native, because I don't have much knowledge about the mobile. Basically, I come from the website, like I normally work at the
Mhm.
React.js. So I was always thinking like, why we can't create such a bundler so we can we can convert whole web app into the mobile app. Why we need always thinking about like this and it. Always we get all the configuration we are doing, right? So why we create such a bundler so that we can like convert whole React.js into mobile or whole mobile into React.js.
I didn't get the question. Like,
Okay, so basically I'm telling, so we have created one web application. Okay,
huh.
so I want to convert whole web application into a mobile applications. Okay, so why we can't create such a bundler so that can convert whole web app into a mobile app?
Okay, so
Why
you
it is difficult to create such a bundler?
okay.
Because now you are talking about a small things every time, how we can create such a a small component to convert into the web app, right? So we can create such a bundler, and that will convert whole application into the mobile application. That will be easier for a development, right?
No, no. I am taking my example was like for how we can use the class names directly for like those person who don't even like the style sheet that I shown in the example. Like style sheet has a long of code base, and the Tailwind like provides a utility classes that you can in a one line you have the you can write a lot of styling properties. So my demo was regarding that how we can use the class names for a web developer directly to make them for the native. But like bundler sizes, I have never tried that thing.
No, that's I understood, because you're talking about the native. Because I also don't understand one thing: why like we are always thinking about a small things, like let's say what you told, right?
Huh.
So we are thinking about one component, we are converting that component into the web app, right? So why we are not thinking about the whole application to convert it at once?
Whole application
Like whole application web app, we have one web app, right?
Huh.
So I want to convert whole web app into the mobile application at once. Why we are thinking about a small components every time? That's what, like, why it is difficult.
Since your question is about why can't the same web app code base can be deployed on mobile, right? So the way web works basically on a JavaScript core engine, right? So that's the way website is being rendered. But the way mobiles are being built, mobiles runs on native views. Okay, so native views have got zero connection with basically the website rendering mechanism. That's the reason you see every view that you create on a mobile on a website is very different from the views that you create natively on iOS and Android. There's no similarities if you ask. Okay, the whole way React Native was able to pitch up this game is just because React Native created a concept called as bridge, where everything that you code in JavaScript, React Native have added a corresponding Java classes on the native side or the Swift classes on iOS. Okay, so they are trying to create the bridge. So that whole process itself is so complex. There's no easy way to render everything in a single view, right? So that's the whole reason.
I would like to add one more thing, that the web applications which we create are always not as much normalized as well, because like let's say you have I'll tell you, like let's say you have created a button, but rather than writing that component as a button, you create it as a div, right? Because that also happens a lot. So when you translate it using, let's say, a standardized bundler which you are imagining, so it would translate to a very weird looking button in your Android and in your iOS. It's not a standardized way like React Native it is doing. Yeah, so that native feel would get lost.
Flutter works on a different concept. Now Flutter comes up something called Skia Canvas engine, right? So Flutter is basically a gaming. You have seen how gaming works. Gaming works on 2D canvas. Same thing. Flutter have done it, but Flutter, you still even though Flutter is able to render on both web as well as on mobile, Flutter is basically created a you can say a very fake view on top of it before on which they render it, right? So that's the whole USP. But just to answer it, right, there's no similarities, right? So that's yeah, that's the reason React Native is actually able to bridge the gap.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you, Rajat. Thank you so much, man. Yes, guys. So there'll be a break now, but before break, just a short quiz. This will be a bingo contest. So Bhushan, can I request you to just show that snapshot? Yeah, so this is the contest here. So I will urge you to just take a snapshot of this one. You can take a snapshot, and then what you do, you can click the pictures, and what you do, and you can post in the Instagram stories by tagging GeekyAnts officials. So you can tag that, and whosoever will be doing first 10 and 15 members will be getting a surprise gift from our side, and it will be done in the break time or at the end. And once you do, just give me a thumbs up so that we can break out for the break. And the break will be for 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. We can say that because there'll be 2 breaks. After this, 2 more speakers and 1 more break. So you can have a good networking and you can invest some time over here itself. Yeah. And one more thing, the first contest which we had for the quiz one, those who have got the stickers, please catch to Mohan. Mohan is right at the back in black jacket. So you can catch and you can just tell your t-shirt size and he will hand over to you. Okay. This is for the first contest which we already done. So you can just put a thumbs up if you are done that. Again, I'm telling it's a GeekyAnts official. You can tag in the Instagram and you can put the stories on yourself. And we can just check the first 15 will be getting a prize for sure today itself. And along with that, we have, if you see, there are a few posters around the wall and there are a few QR codes also. And QR codes is on the table as well. You can scan and you can get to know our products as well. Yeah, so guys, I hope it's done. Can we break out? Okay, great. So the tea coffee is already over there, exactly from the left side, who are sitting over there. So you can have a tea and coffee. And right now it's 4:07. Can we expect you by 4:15? Is it too early? Okay, come at 4:17. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm with Carmen. And so, first of all, how are you?
I am great. I am having the best day today.
Yeah.
Everyone is so positive. Everyone is so inviting. Everyone is so inclusive. It's been incredible. I've learned so much today. Gave a talk today about complex dependency management strategies. I had a wonderful time on stage. What a great crowd.
I miss Indian food, by the way. We should have tikka masala. I love it. I talked about interpreted languages and how JavaScript works behind the scenes. So we took a little peek in how it's working, at the engine level, at the runtime level, how to build a parser, Alexa, and all that stuff that goes unnoticed most of the time. But it's really cool to know how this works behind the scenes.
So I'm going to talk about Solid Start, which is the full stack framework for Solid.js, how it's built. So we're going to pick a little bit under the hood, but more importantly about how we put together as a meta framework, different tools together form the whole stack.
I wanted to tell the story of something that I have built, and it was maybe a lighter talk than the ones I'm usually making, so I was really glad to be able to share this.
My talk was divided in two parts. The first big part was to hype up the audience to start charging money for their products, to basically not do everything for free and not to do open source. And the second part was to change their mind. When you monetize something, when you start making something paid, it actually takes a lot of burden and it takes a lot of mental energy. So it was a two-part talk that leaves the audience with nothing.
I think people are a bit scary about the native side of the React Native, and React Native is native, so you shouldn't be scared to cross that line and try to use those tools because it's just programming, just code. So if you're familiar with coding, you can just pick it up and try to build something awesome with it.
The place is good, the vibe was really nice, and the talks are really informative. I'm liking it.
Yeah, and I think we also spoke about bridging design and functionality, and we're pretty excited to be here.
So I think from my perspective, what we wanted to show is that, server-driven rendering is something that's been around for a while. And it's not just, React server components and innovation of last year.
And we just want to make it a little bit easier for people to use. So of course, that's what Rise Tools is all about, is to help promote this technique. But even if you're not using Rise Tools, you don't necessarily have to go with full-on React server components. you can use your own code to do this, and this is already what people do this all over the industry.
So I think the inspiration for the talk is really, it's been something that I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time. It's been over a year and a half that I've had these thoughts in my head. And GeekConf was a new conference. I had an opportunity to talk about some stuff around universal stuff, and I thought, you know what if I just get all of these thoughts down into a presentation where I can talk about what I think the future of React Native is going to be, and it was a very, very good opportunity.
So my experience at the conference is that it's really nice. The venue is awesome. We got some cool weather and some nice speakers that are speaking today, and I'm looking forward to the next talks.
Yeah, I'm really happy that I found out the people that helped me and the community, React Native community, that is awesome. And yeah, that's basically TLDR.
My talk is about using Gen AI, so generative AI, to help business outcomes and create really great products for users.
Organizing this conference was real fun. From the day one, deciding the theme of the conference.
Earlier we thought probably something related to React or React Native, but we made it very generic so that we evolve with time, the name stays, and we did not couple it with a particular technology.
So yeah, overall a great day and made some great connections, and I had a wonderful time being here at the GeekConf.
And we really see a lot of enthusiasm in the Berlin conference. We have seen a lot of great speakers doing a lot of great things.
I think today was a pretty successful day, and that keeps us asked for more. So probably next year we'll see the GeekConf 2025. That's what we are thinking about.
Yes, so we are moving to the next speaker now, and his name is Anubhav Singh, and he will talk about Gemini with Firebase Vertex AI in React apps. And he is Google developer expert in ML and GCP, and he's a co-founder at Callchimp.ai as well. Can we have a huge round of applause for him, please? Over to you.
Hi, good evening. Hello, hello. Can you hear me till the back? Yes? People in the back, if you can hear me, show me 3 fingers. That guy is showing 4. It's okay, optimistic increments. Anyway, Gemini with Firebase Vertex AI in React apps. Lots of keywords thrown in this. Gemini, how many of you have heard of? Gemini, okay, nice, nice. Firebase, very nice. Vertex AI, fair few. React, good, very nice. Yeah, and I'll try to include some memes because someone told me people like memes. So we'll do that. And let me start with controversy. So I made a popularity graph and I put React on the second. Yeah. So Node.js isn't exactly a web rendering framework and all that, right? So let's consider React is the most popular web framework. And any Vue developers here by any chance? Yes, you like this graph? Yes, no? Next.js developers, by the way, Next.js. Yeah? You like the graph? Okay. No, Next.js is built on React, so yeah, you're like, it's okay, it's our grandfather, it's okay. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So yes, this data is true. There's the source. And yeah, I did start off with some controversy, but I am a React fanboy, so it works. And anyway, hi, I'm Anubhav, co-founder Callchimp.ai, GD for ML and GCP. And that might give you a question, why is this guy talking about React? Makes sense, right? So I am a web developer since before Bootstrap, uh, before Bootstrap was launched. Yeah, and back when I was a very small kid, I made a website which was among the top 1,000 websites of India by traffic rankings, right? So web development is basically where it started, right? The ML and GCP came later, and yeah, web development is inside here. Yes. Anyway, let's get started. The agenda is like really small. Introduction to yours truly, already done. Happy? And then there's Gemini, Vertex AI. I'll introduce them kind of together. Firebase and React.js, again, introduced together. Then we will have a very small demo. I'll show you how to do it. And very honestly, this is a very easy talk. There's nothing difficult in it. Right? It's really simple. And then we'll talk about some of the considerations. And then finally, I'll share some resources. That said, for those of you who have never heard about Gemini, by any chance, it's the ML model by Google, which is supposed to be the competitor for all the other LLM models you have heard about from OpenAI, Claude, and Llama, Phi, whatever, right? And it's currently the only LLM model out there which provides you with 2 million context. What does that mean? 2 million context. Yeah, we'll talk about that very soon. And then grounding. Anyone heard of grounding? Okay, how many of you have made LLM-based apps? LLM, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Some people in the back. Okay, Next.js people are always making next like LLM apps. Very nice. Okay, so here's the thing, right? If you have interacted with an LLM API at any point of time, you know that they're dumb, right? I mean, you ask them the time. How can someone not know the time? Turns out it's not in their training data. The training data is almost always 3 months, 6 months, 1 year old, right? And if you ask it, what is the current time? An LLM does not have a concept of time, right? It's just a very advanced and fast database, which has access to everything about time, a lot of poetry and knowledge about time, but not the time itself, right? Now, this is a drawback of these LLMs. All of them suffer from this, right? Even the ChatGPT we use, even the Gemini AI Studio, whatever you name it, all of them have the same problem, right? And then, since we are engineers, we want a solution to this. And the solution to this is grounding, right? And what does grounding do? Grounding facilitates real-time world information to an LLM before it starts making a response, right? So based on your query, some information will be added to the LLM prompt, and then it will be able to come up with accurate answer. For example, every time you ask an LLM the time, if in the context you also pass the current time, saying this is the current time, it will always have the answer, right? Because you have already told it. So grounding is basically done not by you, but by the LLM provider itself. And Gemini was the first to come up with grounding, in which you had available Google search based grounding, in which you can pretty much use any of the LLM APIs provided by Google, and you will have real-time, real-world results. That said, 2 million contexts. By the way, anyone hit context windows on LLMs here? Yes, which LLM were you using? Using Gemini, you hit the context window. You hit the context window on Gemini? It's 2. No, it is 2. Yeah, standoff. You like it, right? No, it's actually 2. It depends on which model you select. There are models which have 1, and there are models which have 2. So let me try zooming it in. On the right side, this is the token count. This is 1 million. You're right. But then if I switch to 1.5 Pro, it's actually 2. Right? So yes, that is correct. Yeah. So anyway, 2 million contexts, what does that mean for us? Right? So think about, you could fit in almost 50,000 Wikipedia articles in that. 50,000. Right? Talk about any topic, and you can fit in the entire domain knowledge of that topic into Gemini to produce one small answer, right? If you wanted to, and then hours of videos. There's probably a bunch of demos out there on the internet about how they are using these long contexts. Anyway, let's talk about Vertex AI as well while we are at it. So this Gemini thing, right? Initially, it was known as Lambda, and then it became Palm 2. And now it's Gemini. And this word Gemini is actually very loaded in the dictionary of Google, right? Because when I say Gemini, who can tell me what is the URL for this? Anyone? Gemini? Gemini.google.com, right? You might have tried the app, tried checking if it is smart or not, right? So Gemini.google.com, that is a product. At the same time, Gemini is a model, right? And then there's also something called Gemini Ultra, there's something called Gemini Nano, and probably some other variants which I'm not really aware of now, right? So there's a bunch of these models, all of them together are called Gemini. At the same time, they also call their product Gemini just to avoid the confusion, but it actually confuses people more. And then the other terminology which they have really confused people about is Vertex AI. Now, Vertex AI is something which was introduced almost 6-7 years back. Right? It came as a feature or a service of GCP, Google Cloud Platform. And initially, it was used to, at the very starting, it was used to train models, fine-tune models, right? That's how it started. You could upload your data set and pick up some foundational models, fine-tune them, and then deploy them within Vertex AI itself. So what would be the end product of you uploading your data set, choosing a model, and then doing everything on Vertex AI? You would get an endpoint, which used to be, it's a ready endpoint, load balanced, everything auto scalable, and you could hit that endpoint and get back the output from whatever model you have trained on the data that you did, right? So that is how Vertex AI started, but then eventually it evolved, and as of today, the most important things which Vertex AI offers is Vertex AI Studio, Agent Builder, and then some bunch of foundational models, right? So when I say Vertex AI, I do not mean you are limited to using Gemini, right? Just because it's a Google product does not mean they're forcing you to use Gemini. Rather, you could choose to deploy, let's say, Claude Opus on Vertex AI and start using it immediately. One-click deploy, start using it. Mistral, Llama, you name it, all the open source models. So if there is any open source LLM model which you want to deploy and use at a production scale, Vertex AI offers you that. Now that is the good part, right? Vertex AI is a battle-tested product ready for production, right? So when you're testing and stuff, you do not want to go here. But when you want to go to production, when you want to build like really, really solid apps with a lot of users, that is when you think about Vertex AI. That said, let's quickly talk about Firebase and React as well. And this is how I look at it. Every time I do a React.js project, right, I do the normal React installation, and then my next step is install Firebase, because I don't want to care about the hosting. I don't want to care about the authentication and the real-time database and all the goodness, right? So yeah, what is Firebase? I think everyone in this room already knows. And these are some of the actually very limited view of what is there on Firebase. And who is using it? Very interesting, right? See, the reason why I'm talking about Firebase is not because it's by Google, but because I really, really love that project. Turns out last year, I actually exhausted the number of projects you can create on Firebase as a free user. So I had to plead the gods that please give me more quota for projects. And they did eventually. Yeah, but then, there's a very interesting name in here. Who can point it out? There's one name which is like very interesting. Twitch. Why? Why is Twitch interesting? What's the problem with Twitch using Firebase? I mean, Twitch has a lot of real-time stuff. Why won't they use something like Firebase? It's not the odd thing, right? It's a very natural thing to do, right? So Twitch isn't actually the answer to this. Not really. Okay, I did not notice that, but that's a good observation. Yes. Any other? Sorry? Wattpad. Why? What's wrong with Wattpad using it? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Something else? Alibaba. Why? Who said that? Chinese company is fine. The problem is they they themselves are a cloud provider. You understand that Firebase is a GCP product. I see. Yeah, I mean, Google has some restrictions in China, right? But then, yeah, Alibaba is using it. And that's not the concern. My concern is that Alibaba itself is a cloud provider, right? They can actually, if they want to, create a parallel service to Firebase, but they choose to not to do so, right? The reason being, Firebase is actually a very unique product, right? If you think about this, there's been a bunch of people who have tried to create alternatives, right? And I say tried to because none of them are as well integrated and as well supported by I guess the open source community as Firebase has been, right? There's like tons of projects out there which use Firebase, and the number of integrations you have is like almost endless. I probably do not use more than 10% of what Firebase offers, and yeah, being a cloud provider themselves, they choose to subscribe to another cloud provider, right? So that is the most interesting thing here to me. But then, yes, as pointed out, the only Indian company. But yes, a lot of companies in India, I believe, use Firebase. Anyway, right? So this is also a very good thing, right? How many of you use Firebase here? How many of you use? How many of you do not use? You're like strictly no Firebase. Yes, 2 of you. Why? Not required as such. Very nice. Not required for you. Okay, maybe your use case isn't like that, right? So you do not really need Firebase in your projects. And very honestly, there's probably Firebase is something which I myself use in like, say, half of the projects I do, right? And half of them don't really require it. I don't need real time. I'm okay with like slow things happening because it's okay, right? You don't always need to have instant things happening on the website. But anyway, yeah, I think the next question is more like more agreeable, right? How many of you are using React? Yes. How many of you are not using React? Why? Not a web developer. React Native? No. This meetup? To learn about it? Very nice. Maybe you will like React. I'll share a sample code. Maybe you can just download and run it and see. Yeah. Yeah. Very nice. So anyway, let's do a quick demo. I have been given some amount of time. I want to use it judiciously. Right. Let's go with the demo of mixing all of these things together. Right. And what we are going to do, we are going to build this. And for those of you who are not scanning, if you want to answer to this question, you will have to scan. It will open a GitHub repo, and you will be able to see the code. I'll actually talk about the code itself. At the same time, there's also a demo link on the repo itself. And if you want to click and play with it, feel free. I will delete the keys, if any, exposed in the repo later on. But there might be some keys lying around. Actually, Google sent me a warning email. Okay, good. Yeah. So the code base looks something like this. Okay. How do I? Is it okay if I keep it on the dark theme, or should I do a light theme? Let me try out light and let me know. How do we change the theme on this thing? Settings, theme, color theme. Is this better? More visible? No? Okay, people in the front are shouting. We change it back to dark high contrast. This is better? Yes? Okay. So pretty simple structure, and I'll tell you how many steps I did to do this, right? And let me actually bring it here. So the first step was obviously create a project with white. I used white. I think that's the current standard, right? Thank you for the validation. No, it feels good when such good people do that. Yeah, I created a white app with like React and TypeScript, and I'm using PNPM as my alternative to NPM. That said, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And then I just jumped directly into adding Firebase. And you might have done this a million times before. So PNPM add Firebase and Firebase tools. Then obviously the Firebase login and all that, selecting the project, and then the Firebase in it. Right. So once all of this was done, that is when I could do the next part, which was setting up the things. And I'll actually show you the code directly. There's nothing much in this repo. The most important thing probably is this src folder and this config folder, right? So if you look at the main.tsx, nothing, just importing app. This is the template. And inside the template, I did a bunch of things that will give you a very pink UI. But then before I show you that, I'll show you what I did in the config. And the config till here is probably the most standard thing you have seen in invoking Firebase or loading it into your project. So imported the keys from env, and this line is interesting, right? Get Vertex AI and get generative model, right? So this is something which was launched very recently, and now you can do Firebase/Vertex AI to load Vertex AI directly into your Firebase project. This was not there before, and if you want to integrate AI into an application, you don't really have to go to Gemini AI Studio, don't have to download a key, nothing at all. Your Firebase configuration itself is enough for you to start using Vertex AI, except one small catch. You have to enable the paid version of Firebase, which is the Blaze plan. Because the reason Vertex AI is actually a paid product, right? So you will have to turn that on, and After that, you will be able to use this. Configuration, no change. The way you have your existing configuration in your Firebase projects, just go ahead with that. Initialize Firebase, and then the next step is interesting, where we initialize first Vertex AI. And trust me, I have used Vertex AI with Python, with Golang, and even with Next.js. And this is the easiest way for me to initialize Vertex AI, right? I have other repos which I'll share, in which I have had a very long fight with Google SDKs to authenticate properly with Google APIs. Anyone face that? Their authentications are like messed up, right? You have to do a bunch of things before you can actually call a API or a service. And this is the easiest way I could find of initializing it. And then just load the generative AI model from Vertex AI. What is the model? We are using 1.5 Flash, and it has a 1 million context. And after that, I just created a function, very standard, very easy for people who have been into the JavaScript world, that it's an async function, Gemini API, pass the prompt, get the result, await, and then send back the text. And then I have simply exported just the Gemini API because I don't really need to import anything else from here. In app.tsx, let's ignore the other things, because being React developers, you will see the UI, you will understand what's going on. But this is the main part, right? All I do is const result await Gemini API and the prompt. That is all. And then I'm able to use that result, right? So this is basically the easiest way I've seen of using any of the LLM APIs, right? If you look at my env, I don't really have to even load this. It's like on a hashtag. I can remove it, no worries, right? I don't have to include any extra keys. Whatever I have set up in Firebase, that is enough, right? And then we can probably think about, yeah, let me go to that later. Let me try running it. There's a URL on the GitHub repo. Otherwise, you can also check this out. And the idea is very simple. You enter your name, that is me. You enter your zodiac sign. How many of you believe in horoscope? Horoscope believers? No? Yes? Some people are like, no, it's okay. It's okay. Let's not. Anyway, my favorite Harry Potter character is Dobby. That's new. Right? And it gives me a very simple, it works. Basically, it works. Right? So, yeah, as simple as that. Right? So let me come back to the slideshow. And what are the considerations I have to keep in mind? First of all, it's not a free offering, right? That is probably the first consideration everyone wants to have. Is it free? Is it paid? What is the rates like? And yeah, while you are in free mode, do not use Vertex AI. See, and I'm not really sure if Google really wants me to say this, but yes, this is a fair warning that while you are in development mode, go ahead and use Google AI Studio, get an API key. It has a generous free limit, and only after you are done developing with the free API, that is when you switch to Firebase Vertex AI. Or if you want, you can directly go to Vertex AI, but trust me, that's very, very complicated. And yes, don't fit a square peg in a round hole. If you don't really need to have an LLM or an AI in your application, please do not. I have kind of become tired by saying every company is an AI company these days, right? Let's not do that. If you really need it, only then you can use it. Just because I showed you you can use Vertex AI does not mean you will go ahead and do it, right? When you need it, use it. And then yes, the good and the bad of React, right? A lot of people have a lot of complaints with React. A lot of people love it, right? So whatever is there with React, you will still carry it. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Here are some resources which you can explore. These are all links, by the way. You will be able to click on them. And just to make the Next.js people happy, I have also shared a repository where I have used Firebase, Jenkit, and Next.js to connect with the Gemini API. And Jenkit was the easiest thing I knew of before they launched Firebase Vertex AI. And that's it. So that is all. Thank you. And we can take questions. Yes, any questions about this? Yes?
context tokens and this, you were saying you in 2 million context window you can fit around 50,000
Yeah,
Wikipedia articles. So I'm a naive in this LLMs and all.
Mhm.
So can you give me a brief idea in like 1 minute summary, like what tokens are, what context is, and what 50,000 and all, and what defines the right set of prompting? That I want to understand from you. Yeah.
Okay. Give me a second. Gemini. Me zoom this a bit. Yeah, sorry. That was a different thing. It was lines of code, but then take similar, right? So this is what 1 million can do, and this is like just double it for 2 million tokens, right? Now here's the thing. Every time you make a question to an LLM, right? And I think this is one of the best platforms out there to learn, because while you are using Google AI Studio, your APIs are all free. You are not even rate limited. You can just keep hitting AI Studio within the UI itself. Right now, let us take a look at it. Right on the right side, you see this panel. I'm not really sure if you can zoom that panel much, but let me try anyway. There we go. Right. So, in the context of an LLM, the tokens are essentially the computing unit in which the LLM model works. Right. And why I say computing unit and not any other common word like word, sentence, character, right? Because that is not how it works, right? Let's say you are asking a question, right? For example, in the system instruction, let me just write a poem. Okay. Look at the token count. It's not characters, it's not words, it's not sentence, right? Token count is 4. What does that mean? Essentially, all these language models, and if you look at one layer deeper, right, where you have these encoders and decoders, right? What is GPT, for example? It's a decoder only model, right? So it decodes tokens to text. So text itself isn't exactly tokens. Tokens is the unit in which LLM or large language models, or in general any of the language models work, right? And when I say language models, it could also be a sentiment model. It could also be entity detection model, right? These are classical NLP models. They are not exactly generative AI. These are classical NLP models which take text, try to parse it, have some rules, break it down according to those rules, and try to process it that way, right? For example, if you take a sentence, write a poem, this sentence has probably a noun, an object, and probably a subject and some things like those, right? So positional tagging, right? There's this concept of positional tagging. And when you try to do that, right, you break down the words into an intermediate format from where you can you can pretty much draw entire trees of meanings in which that the word could progress, right? So these root of that tree is the token, right? So it's not the full word. For example, if you think about the word application, application is a big word. What is the first token in this, right? I believe the first token will be something around APP or AP, because from there it can diverge into many things, right? APP and then S, so mobile apps. APPL and then E, Apple, right? And then I, after I, you could go to some other words if there are, I'm not really sure. But then before you reach the full application word, there will be a lot of branches, right? So all these branches, the places where you break these branches, those constitute of tokens, right? So when you generate anything with an LLM, you are bound by the number of tokens that particular LLM can process. When the model is trained, at that time itself, its context window is defined, right? So it's not something which you do later. It's something which you decide at the first point. Why? Because not everyone can handle a lot of context. If you have more tokens in your context window, then the LLM has to do more work to learn. Because at every iteration of learning, it has to use the full context, right? So during training, you limit the context window, saying that, hey, my model probably does not need to process more than 1000 characters in a go, right? Just for simplicity, I'm going to call it characters for now. But then in tokens, it's a different conversion, which happens through, you could use an easy algorithm, you could use a tough one. The easiest would be bag of words. Otherwise, you could go to more complex ones later. That said, you limit the amount of context it can process because your model is not supposed to do what other models are doing, right? Think about this. A model which is designed to give the meaning, or let's say the history of a word, right? Etymology, right? An LLM model which only provides the history of a word. Now, what is the number of tokens it needs to have in its context window? Sorry? Yeah. So word history, let's say the data set that we are uploading to this model, let's say the data set has word histories of 300 words or lesser, right? 300 words plus the word that the user is going to ask, right? So let's talk about 300 words. And on an average, it's like 5 characters per word on an average. Multiply it 1500. So maybe if you give it a context window of 2000 tokens, you are good to go. But at the same time, if you're going to do something like Notebook LM, if you have explored it, you give it a lot of documents and then you ask one question, it gives you an answer, right? If you have a lot of documents coming in, those will be much longer, right? And that amount of documents will not be able to fit into 2000 tokens window, right? So that is why you have the system of tokens in here. And you need to be very sure about how much token context you are going to need. And the billing actually happens in LLMs on the basis of number of tokens you consume, not on the number of characters, right? So yes, if you do want to explore it more, I will suggest that there are tokenization algorithms. You can probably search for that. Search for tokenization algorithms, and you will be able to read through. If you really want to start down this rabbit hole, attention is all you need is a great paper to start with. Yeah, in general, just remember you have to minimize this. You don't want to use a lot of it, otherwise you will have a lot of bill. You see all these models are actually built on the number of tokens you consume. Yeah, $1 less than 128K tokens, $5, right? So yeah. Any other questions?
Anubhav, I'm so sorry for that because we are running short of time.
Yeah.
So we can move to the next speaker. Really sorry
Sure.
for that.
Thank you
Guys,
all.
I understand we have a lot of questions. We can do it in networking.
Yeah. Couple of slides left actually. First of all, if you want to connect with me, I have the same handle everywhere, right?
Sure.
All over the internet. Even the website is the same. And you can give us feedback by scanning this QR code. How did you like the session? Do right, very awesome, very good, right? Things like those. And finally, the photo that you should be taking is this. You'll get the entire slide deck. You will get all the links clickable. Thank you.
Thank you, Anubhav. Believe me, it was really incredible. Thank you so much for this. Thank you. Yeah. Guys, yeah, we are just going to have one interesting thing now. His name is Piyush, and Bhushan, can you just show that slide? Yeah. Guys, it's really interesting. So I want to welcome Piyush. Piyush, please come on the stage. He is a roadside coder here.
Hi everyone. So my name is Piyush, and you might have seen my channel on YouTube. It's called Roadside Coder, and like this is very random. I was here in Bangalore for a few days, so I thought I'll come to this, meetup and yeah, connect with you guys. So yeah, I create content around interview. Like I started creating content around interview preparation, like on JavaScript, React, and all of those things, because I thought like I've seen that there was a lot of gap during that time in 2020, 2021. that not a lot of content was available on interview prep. And these days, I'm creating content around full stack app development. So if any of you guys are interested, definitely go check it out. And yeah, you guys are doing great job with this meetup, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Piyush. Thank you so much. It was a really great one. Yeah. Guys, without further ado, we'll move to the next speaker now. He will speak about perfecting the native feel with React Native. And his name is Akash Gautam. He is a software engineer in GeekyAnts. Akash, can you please come?
Hello. Just 1 minute. Cheat sheet. Okay. क्यों नहीं होना था? Yeah, hi. So my name is Akash Gautam, and well, you were not supposed to see that, जो Excel sheet था, but yes. So basically today, I'd like to talk about something I really like. It's basically the difference between native apps and web-like apps, or like the responsive versions of websites that we create. What makes an app feel like truly feel like an app, like the small animations. Am I audible? Hello. Yeah, the small animations, the like when you swipe back, it goes towards that direction only. It doesn't go towards anywhere else. So these are just like some of the animations I like. Have a look, enjoy. So this is, we'll talk about this. Basically perfecting the native feel with React Native or Expo, whichever you feel or whichever you use. So what is what is the native feel? What makes an app feel native? Is it the the theming? Is it is it small animations? Uh, is it the background? Is it the color of the UI? Like, how do you make an app feel truly native? So there's no definitive answer to this. It's like a collection of a lot of things: small animations, gestures, gesture handling, the way the app feel it looks, and so I'll just show some of the examples, and maybe you guys will get a good feel out of it. So this is some of the examples. How, like in the first example, you can see that it's coming from the left instead of anywhere else. It's not just popping in. And the second screen, the screens, I mean, when you, like in websites, when you do route change or when you click on something and some other component opens, it just pops up. It never comes, like if it's a complete route, we don't make it to come from any side or something. But in mobile, it feels natural. Okay, the screen is coming from the right side, or like if it's a modal in the last screen rightmost, you can see the rightmost example. It's coming from the bottom, and the bottom screen is going behind, and it's on top of that. So these are just some of the examples to like how an app can feel more native. And these are some more examples. For example, a gallery or something, action sheet, you can drag and move, like you can, it feels natural to move with it with the motion of your thumb, how you how you try to move it. In computer, in web, the image viewer or the gallery, how we do it, it just opens up an image. In mobile devices, in native devices, it feels natural to be able to move around with it, play around with it. So like these small things makes an app feel truly native instead of just like, okay, it's there, it's done. So that transition phase, that animation, how you handle it, how it moves with the gestures, those are the things that makes an app feel truly native. So now basically like how to achieve the native feel. It's a very basic code. If you are using React Native, you might have used React Navigation native stack. So if you want to make routes come from a side, and then if you go back, it will go in that direction only. That's the code. It's good and feels natural when you're doing routing, when the screen changes, or how in WhatsApp when you do the when you tap on like a single chat or something, it comes from the right side and it covers the whole screen. So it feels natural. कि हाँ, ठीक है, this is a different layout. It's coming there, and when you go back, it doesn't go on the left or any other side. It doesn't pop out of existence. It goes back outside from where it came from. So it's out of there. This is not possible in Windows also, in like in the browser. It's not something that you touch mostly. So in the devices, it feels natural. Okay, this direction we're going in, this direction it's going out. So this is how you manage routing. Then the other one is drawer, sidebar, same code. Then this modal I really like in how React Native handles it, and the options it basically give us. It's a very basic code. You can customize it. It has a lot of different options. This is one of the modal that comes from the bottom. So the behind screen, if you can see, if it's clear, yeah, I think so. Yeah. So the behind this screen goes a bit back. The size shrinks, and there's an overlay on top of it. So it looks like something came and pushed on top of it. It feels like a stack. So this is about modal, and then coming to next. This is one of the things I love the most in Expo and React Native, the shared element transition. And it feels really good. It feels natural to just shift around with it, play around with it. You can see two examples there on the screen at the side also. And React Native Reanimated version 3 recently launched the latest third version. So their new API, I'll just quickly show it. And it's like the code is with this much code, you can achieve that functionality. You don't have to write anything else. You don't need to define any other config. It's very nice. And it's easy for us as developers to create things with minimalistic code which looks as good as this. And like the things that you can create with it while playing with the code and everything will obviously be way better than the most basic examples I can show here. So this is about it. Coming to the next point, and so I don't have any more examples to show. So I'll just focus on some good practices and things that to do, or like to take care of, to think while creating a native app, and the things that we don't focus about while creating a website. So like we all have used Swiggy, Zomato, and any other app. So when OTP comes, it automatically takes it from the SMS. It shows on top of your like the number input that okay, copy paste it from here. So that auto input from SMS, that's one of the features that makes an app different than your normal website. Then when a formal element is there, or you go to a next screen, if it's especially an onboarding screen, the email password, it automatically switches to there. It connects to the native of your device. For example, if you do sign in with Google, in mobile, it opens your defaults, like the Google accounts that you're already signed in with. In iOS, it opens something else. The form elements, when you open up the keyboard, so the screen is a bit smaller. So the form elements needs to go up. So that's one of the things that you need to take care of. Status bar color, theming, that should be like which color status bar should be there. If you should even show the status bar or not. For example, if it's a weather app. So almost all of the weather app have the almost the same layout. The top half is basically some cute, nice animation with some wind blowing and everything. And that does not just stop till the status bar. It goes on the status bar itself. So to take care of, depending on the app, what to show on the status bar, should status bar even be there? Should it not? Should you hide it? Should you hide like show some content on the status bar? Should you not show the time and the natural items, battery, and the whatever else icon is there in the status bar? And then the last point, that's like the first point, if you go to any, like if you start creating a native app, avoiding the safe area, the bottommost and the topmost area where the notches are and the buttons are, we generally avoid them to show. We don't use them to show any content, but we use them to make our UI look beautiful. Like you won't just leave them as it is with a black or white color. If it's a linear gradient, it will go down till the bottom, including the safe area. If it's an animation, it feels nice to go it till the last most point, including the safe area. But if it's a content, if it's something that you want the user to focus on, it will never be on the topmost, like near the notch, so it can be hidden, or at the bottom where the, like in iPhone, there's a small notch thing at the bottom. So those are the things that, like, these are generally good practices that I like and just wanted to share. So now enough about the theory. Let's talk about some practical and the issues that mostly, well, I mean, there was supposed to be 3 slides here, which are still there, but I forgot the password of my laptop. So I'll just say it and hope you guys get the point. Okay. So I'll just talk about some of the issues that I faced while creating these. Specifically, this one slide I'll talk about that I had the most issue with is the routes. So the way we create routes with React Native or Expo is the elements or the pages or the components at the same level. Let's say slash profile or slash settings, slash home, slash feed. Those are all at the same level, like they're at the slash something, not slash something slash something. Now, if I want to go from, let's say, one nested route to another, which is on a different level, mostly we don't do intercross like how this code is given. We don't use it like that. And when I was coming to React Native, that was one of the issues I faced majorly, because how do I go from a place to another place which have no connection in between? How do I make the animation smooth? So to counter that, what we do is we create 2 separate sections. One that goes from the parent, let's say the slash first route slash a slash b slash c, whatever are there, those are categorized like how we see here. And then on top of this, there's another stack navigation that goes from the first route to the other route that can be any level nested. So it still feels smooth. So let's say if you have a slash chat and slash profile, and you want to go from slash chat to slash chat slash chats slash some specific chat ID. So you can't do it with this way. So for that, you need to have a parent stack container, and then from there on, then go to that specific one. I could have shown the code, but again, I forgot the password. So I hope you guys are getting the point. And then, yeah, 1 minute. Yes, and some other things, like how to handle, like in apps, we don't normally press the back button. We do the left swipe or right swipe, and it does the back and forward motion for us. So how to manage that into the app? And let's say, like, let's take Swiggy for example. So we have 3 or 4 bottom tab bars. So one is for food, let's say one is for Instamart, and let's say the another one is for profile. Now, if you switch between them, the back button should not go from one to another. So let's say I tapped 10 of them, I got bored, I was playing and tapping on 10 of them. So it should not go from one custom tab bar to other. So that's one of the things in routing, how you to handle the back navigation. And in native, the way we create it is like it's an array. It creates a sort of stack on, like, on top of one another. So one route, then the next route that's supposed to go there, and then the other one. So how to manage the back? It should not, like, and how to not push the route to any specific stack if it's not supposed to go back there. And then, like, some consistent theme and styling should be there. Uh, there was a really good joke that I can't show also. So forgot password, and a good meme also I forgot. So I believe this is it. And yeah, thank you. These are my handles. Please connect with me. And yes, if you have any questions, we'll connect in the break, or after every talk is done. We have a networking time allotted. So any questions and answers are welcome, but at that specific time only. Thank you.
Thank you, Akash. Thank you so much. It was valuable insight from your side. Thanks, all, man. So, guys, yes, now there's a time for the break. And before break, I will just want to say one thing, because there is a one light mode and dark mode. There is one stories is going on. We have a poll actually, light mode, dark mode in the Instagram stories. You can check it out and you can vote. And the person who will vote, we have again for that, prizes for that. So please do that during the break time. And yes, just one thing I miss out to inform you about that. At the beginning, as I told you about the photo booth, which is exactly outside here. You can have a picture And as I mentioned in the beginning that you can able to post in the stories of the Instagram by tagging GeekyAnts officials. So you can do that, and for that also the prizes are there. So please do that. And right now it's 5:11. I want everybody you to back by 5:20. Okay, so please come back on time. So yes, you can disperse for the break time now. Yeah, thank you. Pathak, and he's a front engineer intern in Groww, and he will speak regarding Zustand internals and working. Write your version of Zustand. So can we have a huge round of applause for him, please? The stage is yours.
So, hello everybody. Just wait for slides to load. So, hello. Today we are going to talk about Zustand internals, Zustand under the hood. Before starting, a brief introduction about myself. I am Harsh Pathak, front-end internet Groww, loves building stuff that lives on web. So, first of all, what is Zustand? So, anybody knows about it? Yeah, it's a state management tool. But why? Just another state management tool? We have Redux, Context API, MobX, but why another? Something like Zustand. So to find this, we need to understand what are the problems with the traditional architecture of Context APIs and Redux. So most of the big orgs use Redux because it is a very old, I think it was published in 2015, and there's a lot of boilerplate code. To connect it with React, we used to wrap it a whole of our app in a context, and there's a complex middleware setup. And it increases the initial load of your app because of a global store. Also, bundle size is a big issue. Because of large bundle size, performance of app are drastically impacted. And there's a zombie child problem. So when there is a async operation happening, a pairing gets stuck and the child gets a stale data, which causes an app to break and see a wrong data. So what's the high level architecture of Zustand? So you create a store, there's a store instance, a state container, and API layers. So this looks like a very complex architecture than Redux, but it's actually simpler. There are majorly 3 layers. First is store creation, second is state management, and third, it is integrating it with React. So how it works? So the traditional approach for state management includes wrapping your whole of your app in a context. So every time you create a context, for example, if you have 4 different wrappers, so your app directly looks like your code grows like this, which is ugly and difficult to maintain. And the initial, every time your app loads, first the context is made, and then your global store is created, then your app loads. So so this is a traditional approach. There is a traditional context, a provider tree, and there are different components which uses this provider. And all states are propagated through React tree. So how Zustand solve this problem? Module level closures. So I think everybody know about what are closures. Anybody want to explain what are closures? A brief definition. Anybody? So closures, basically what it does, it binds to the lexical scope of your environment to access the values. We will deep dive into it in the live coding session. So what are the benefits of this module level closure? You doesn't need to provide anything, reduce JS overhead, simpler testing, better tree shaking. Tree shaking is that you remove the unused code and your granular subscriptions are there. That you are not creating a global store, just subscribing to the slides that are needed on that page only. Oh, this is my favorite part. So when I deep dive into Zustand, this is what I found out. So it is better in performance because of the use of better data structures. So they are listeners. They are components that subscribe to a state. So to store these listeners, we need a data structure. So any dev will think we can store a ordered structure. So we will use arrays. So the problem with arrays is there can be a duplicacy. So for example, if I subscribe to a state, component A subscribe to a state, then B, and they again, A is rendered, it again subscribes to a state. So there are duplicacy. So there are multiple re-renders in the content in the whole of our page, which reduces the overall performance of the page. So where the Zustand wins. So it uses set data structure. So it just uses big O of 1 operations for addition and deletion in comparison to the Redux, because it uses array. Redux uses array because at that time it was very old, and initially it was written in array, and at that time sets were not that popular. So it was a newer approach and very performant. So there are automatic memory cleanups, no duplicate listeners, better garbage collection. And the bundle size. I think everybody has seen this meme. What are the heaviest thing in the world? It are node modules. So when we compare Zustand, it has minimal size along with all the middlewares and the dev tools if you include. Still, it is less than Redux, MobX, and Recoil. So let's build our old mini version of Zustand. So there is a simple function. We are going to create a mini Zustand. There are 3 counters, counter A, B, and C. These all are referencing to a single count state. We can decrement it. And there is a global count, which is connected to it. And it is showing which last component touched it. And we can reset it. So I think screen is visible. So first we create a store. So for creating a store, what we are doing is, here the magic happens. Like, I need to show that there's a state. So what initial state does is, anybody, if they have used any statement library, you declare an initial state. So what we are creating is, there's an initial state that creates a closure with at a module level. And this state is accessible through all of our app. And there is a listener. This is set data structure we are using because we are creating our own Zustand. And there's a set function which compares it and modifies the state. We can either append the state or replace it. And there's a get state function and there's subscribe API. We export all of these functions. So we have created a store, but to use it in an app, we need to create a hook to use this app in all of our app. So we imported basic use state and use effect. There is a create store function, which we are going to create a selector, which is going to create a compare the shallow copies of our states and check if there is any change. So selector function, what it will do in the initial state, you have defined a complex state, and the parts you subscribe, only those parts in the selected state will be compared and will be re-rendered. So whenever the value of selector or values change, your component will re-render. So this unsubscribe function is really good. So what this unsubscribe function will do, it will do a cleanup. So in use effect, whenever we write a side effect, we need to, in the return statement, we need to do a cleanup function. So all of this will be handled by this create use store function. So unsubscribe, the store does subscribe. So if we come back to the create store function, what you will see, it returns as a function. So subscribe function will add a component in the listeners set and the return will delete it. So when the component unmounts, it will remove from and there will be no unnecessary state renders even after unmounting of the component. So after that, we will create a simple counter. So there is the initial state. We have updated a count as 0 and last updated as null. And set count function, normal function, reset. You can add more functions if you want. It's just the API that you want to use to trigger states. At that part, now we will import create store function. We will just pass our initial state and the function that we want to use and create the hook that will be used inside the app, like use counter will be used by the create store. So this will return us all the states that are present inside it. And set count and recent count function to mutate the states. So let me show you the counter A. So like any other component library, state management library, you will import two hooks, the function you want to change and the store that you want to access. So from the use count, we are extracting the state, we are destructuring it with count and last updated by. These are the states that we want to render on the UI. And for the buttons, we are just using the set count function, and which is a very less boilerplate code as compared to Redux. We don't have to write dispatch, a different reducer, and other stuff. And whole our app is now able to function. And you can see our app is clean, doesn't wrap in any provider. So there's no JS overhead. If our initial page doesn't require any store, so nothing will be imported, which improves the overall performance of our app. So that's all from my side. Any questions?
Yes, definitely we can take some questions, but at the networking session at the end, we will be having over there itself. So yeah, we'll move to the next program. Yeah, no, it's fine. It should be. Thank you, Harsh. Thank you so much for this. Guys, have a round of applause for him. So we will move now to the next speaker. And yes, before that, I just want to inform that live poll, as I've informed you, for the dark mode and the light mode is still there. So you guys can vote, and the result will be announced at the end of the session. And as you know, the pizza is there, will be announced soon over there. It has already arrived. So after the talk and lightning talk will be there for you. So yes, now we'll be moving to the next speaker of the day. And this is the last one. So this is all about design, code, deploy, and welcome to BuilderX, which is by Suraj. He is a ADOE of GeekyAnts, and Sanket Sahu once again from GeekyAnts, please, CTO. Please welcome him.
Thank you so much. This is the last talk. So, and I know we are waiting for pizzas, but this is going to be interesting. Okay. So it's me again, and I've got Suraj here.
Hello.
Yeah. So Suraj has been working with me for a decade now, from past 10 years. And yeah, go ahead.
Let me introduce myself. I'm Suraj, and I've been working here as an engineer at GeekyAnts. And I've been working for a couple of years here at GeekyAnts. And I like computer gaming, scrolling reels, this kind of stuff. So if you have any any computer games ideas or shared ideas about computer games, I'm also a good Potterhead, so we can discuss about those things as well.
So you must have liked Anubhav's, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Which character did you choose?
My favorite character.
Yeah.
Okay. That's I think Donald.
No, from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Okay. All right. So yeah, I was thinking just right before coming on the stage, I thought of roasting each other, but Suraj was like, no, we should not. Although I came up with a joke, I was asking ChatGPT about some jokes. Like, okay, Suraj writes such shitty code that garbage collector collects his code. Okay, anyway, so we have been working on something interesting. It's have you guys worked with or tried V0? V0? How many of you? Oh, many of you. Okay. So V0, if you don't know, is a prompt to UI, prompt to code / UI sort of tool, which is by Vercel. And it's amazing. Similar to Claude, when you type to like generate some login screen or something like that, it shows the output on the right side. It uses React, Tailwind, and also some React components as well. So it's similar. So we have built something a little more advanced and want to show you guys. The project is called BuilderX. We worked on this. Actually, I announced this, the first version of BuilderX in 2018 2017 or 18 in Poland, and earlier it was a no-code tool similar to Figma, but it used to export React and React Native code. But today it's slightly different. So this is what it looks like. Does it ring any bell? Does it look similar to any of the tools that you use? Yeah. Did you plan something else? Sorry, I directly jumped to the demo. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. So like the usual flow goes like you design something, and then developer picks that up, and then you build it and test it and launch it, and then it goes from say test to develop again, or maybe check for updates. You have to add new features. This is the usual flow, but everything is about to change with AI, because designers are now doing developer work. Developers are doing some sort of UI designing as well, because AI is actually giving you nice looking UI as well, right? So we are today with this, and Suraj, feel free to add
Yeah, sure,
anything.
no problem.
Yeah.
You can continue.
Yeah. And we have got go back. So how are we solving this problem? So we have got Figma. Like Figma, if you have used it, most of you must have used it. Like the designer just designs something and you directly get the output. I mean, you directly get it updated on your system. You don't have to do anything like git push and update a new version, change branches, right? So real-time collaboration happens only in the design front, but on the coding side, it does not. We work on branches and then we go back and merge our code. And with AI, Cursor AI fans in the house, maybe they'll relate to it, that they can write prompt and then see directly the output with what AI generates. And it's not just UI, but also business logic. So AI is powering, at least for me, it's powering like 90% of my code is being generated by AI. So we can probably use that, use something from the design world, and we can eliminate the handoff. Can we like bring designer and developers in the same Figma like interface? That's the dream. And is anybody here enough old who have ever worked with Visual Basic by any chance? Okay. Disclaimer. Yeah, few of you. So remember how you might have seen demos, at least those who have not have hands on. You can actually drag and drop things and just play the button, click the play button, and it actually builds a desktop app, Windows app, right? And so you're designing and coding at the same time. Or maybe if you have used Adobe Flash 2001, maybe. I think people are here who are born after 2001, but yeah, I'm a big fan of such tools that lets you code in a UI layer. Something like Figma, but functional, not just design. Yeah. Can we do that today? And with this vision in mind, we have tried to build something. And that's the demo that we are going to have for you guys today. Yeah.
Go ahead with the demo.
Yeah. You can actually use the system. Let's go. Can you zoom in a little bit? Yeah, full screen. Can you zoom the entire side panel as well? A little bit. Zoom out. Slightly zoom out. Yeah. So this is what we've been trying to build. Looks like Figma and works like Figma, but this is a real React app, React web app. What you see on the screen, say we have built something like say welcome to BuilderX. You see that button. Let's click on that button, Suraj, if we can, and select that button. Yeah, and try to resize it. Okay, so we can actually visually resize things. And what does it do? Does it like update the code? And can we see the code?
You can see the code over here.
Yeah.
We have a code panel over there. So while selecting, we have selected this button. So if you go back to the code, and if you can see here, we definitely have that button over here. You can see here. So we can directly update our code over here. So this way we can make those edits on code as well as on the design side. So here we can update the class names, this button and this card component. All these things are Shadcn components. So we directly imported it from Shadcn And as this is Tailwind supported, so we can directly add Tailwind classes. So you can make those changes directly through code, as well as from the editor we have already seen. Like
so
this.
what happens when you like resize the height? Say you give some height
Yeah.
or change that visually. Can you try changing that? Does
Yeah,
that
so
happen?
let's change it visually over from here.
Yeah, and then
So
let's see the code. What happens? So
select this layer.
And so it does add some width and height to it.
Over here.
So it's bi-directional. So you can update it as a designer, and it's updating the code. And what you see on the screen is actually a live running npm run dev app. So it's not a fake view. We have seen a lot of no-code tools, right, like this. But most of them, I mean, I can call out names and say like hundreds of them have only worked on one side of the things. Like it was like design, and then it exported code for you. And when you do that, you have like two different worlds. You are always working on a handoff model where you hand off from designer, then code it, and then go back to the designer. But here it's like you can update anything. Like you can either update in the design or in the code, and it's bi-directional. Can we say probably change the color of the button? So if we change it to blue, it actually is running a VTAP right now in the browser, and it just works. Yeah.
And we can directly deploy it from here as it is a working VTAP. So we have that integrated as well. So we can directly deploy it from here. And if you click on the publish button, it will get deployed in one of our servers, and you can check it out directly from here. You'll get in preview. Oh, this is not loaded yet. So let's reload a couple of times.
So this is also like if you have used Vercel, you take the code and then do Vercel deploy. This is all integrated here. So you don't need to leave the tool. That's the whole point. You can code here, you can design here, you can make API calls and deploy it straight away to a domain of your choice. Right now it's builderx.dev, similar to vercel.app or web.app as supported by Google. So yeah, this is what we wanted to show.
And there's, as we already, I think, explained, this is a collaborative tool for designer and developer, and also it's AI powered. So we have integrated Anthropic AI to this thing, so you can directly make designs through AI. So generate designs new.
Can I type something?
Yeah, I can type. So you can create a new artboard. Cool. Just give it a time.
Should work.
Hopefully.
Production issue.
Okay. You can directly make changes over here.
Can we like? I wanted to create a screen.
Okay.
Can we type it here?
Let me go to this.
Okay, take it. Okay. Okay. All right. So I can create a new new screen.
Yeah.
And then I can do something here.
Yeah.
Any request? What do you want to build? Yes,
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Create a landing page using. Axiom is already there. So
Yeah.
create a landing page. So let's create a stunning landing page. Page for a new product. What's your name? Harshit. Harshit X. Is that okay? It's a page where we can sign up for a waitlist to meet Harshit in Bangalore. Okay, that's good. Let's try. I hope this works. I don't see the loader.
Production issues.
But I hope it works.
Just copy the prompt.
Okay, let's see.
They try to.
Let's build a landing page for Harshit. He wants to sign people for a wait list for his upcoming. Let's see, hope it works. So it has got something, but it's not. I did not write make it stunning. Add gradients, add icons, and maybe add a little bio about header would be nice. Okay, let's see. So we can. Okay, we've got something, and let's see what happens if I play this. Let's click on play and click on join waitlist. Okay, there's no action right now, but we can define that. And if you look at the code, it's all Tailwind and ChadCN, and you can actually go beyond that. You can say, let's add some action. So I can. Okay, there are some issues. Make it functional. Functional. Show a form when the button is clicked. Make an API request. Post the submission. Okay, let's see. Hope it works. Harshit, are you a full stack developer and a tech enthusiast? That's what it says in the bio over here. It's try to create a logo as well. Okay, I hope this is done. So let's click on the play button and then try to click on this. Oh, we've got something. And then I can click on this and click this. Okay, it's also got some validation. And click on submit. And I think this is making an API call because it has got use state, set open, set email. And then once this is done, it is calling /API waitlist, which we can code anyway, or maybe ask the AI to do it. And it's all there with all the icons and everything. Yeah, like it? Great. So yeah.
That's it, I think.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. And also we have the right panel to make the minor changes into our UI. Look, the AI not always gives us the perfect results. So we can make the pixel changes over here from using this tool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go back to the slide.
So this is still under waitlist. I mean, your tool and also this tool. We have been working on it from past 4 or 5 months, and we are very hopeful that this is going to pick up like the tool where design, code, and deployment meets. And let's hope for the best. The team is sitting right here and also there. So yeah.
Yeah.
Is that all? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, I guess.
All right. That's it from our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanket. Thank you, Suraj. It was phenomenal. Amazing. Thank you so much. Guys, can we have a huge round of applause again, please? So all the speakers' talks are over now. So it will take hardly a few minutes. Only 2 talks is remaining, which is of lightning talk, actually. 5 minutes. 5 minutes each. So I will request to come Ashutosh now. So he will talk about EduBoard, an app for all education institutes. And he is a senior front-end engineer from Knowledge Lens. Please come.
Hi. Hello, I am Ashutosh. In profession, I am a software product developer, and in passion, I am a game developer actually. Okay, so I am here for one of my app, like product what we are creating, which is EduBoard, which is kind of an management app, student and teacher management app. So I want to actually say about 2 POCs what we are doing. One is the kind of we are giving one option for the all the institutes and mostly institutes that they can upload an image in a certain template, and we are generating the Excel sheet from that image. Like this approach is for actually taking the 10 years 5 years data from them. Like they can't come and input one by one, right? So for that one we are just asking to upload the image by giving columns and rows in that template format. And by return we are giving the Excel sheet with updated all the values. Then they can verify and they can submit it. So later on, if they want to maintain, they can maintain all the records of 5 to 10 years. Even they can do the attendance also. Like now we know that most of the school and colleges are still doing the attendance through pen and paper. So for recording to them to our app, they have to sit and write each and every present or absent values and all, right? For avoiding those, we are even giving the same to upload the attendance sheet. By return they will get the student list, student details, along with their present and absent details, so they can feed like that. And another thing we are giving is now for let's say we have to bring one more page in the app, then we have to sit and write the code. So now we are giving one more provision also in our product, that you can there will be a portal where you can drag and drop the icons. Let's say you want an input field, like kind of no code, you want an input field or you want an image, drag and drop that one. And at then if you want, then you can create sixth or seventh number of nested route and all. And we will be creating the routes dynamically, and on clicking back we can come back to the previous pages and all. Like that we can without writing any code, we can create dynamic pages. That option also we are giving. So this is an GitHub open source code. If anyone wants to collaborate, then most welcome. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you so much for this. And quickly, we'll move to Harshit now. He is Harshit Budhraja, and he is senior software engineer at imagekit.io. And he will talk about web codecs demystified. Please welcome him.
All right. Hi, everyone. I am Harshit, and I am a senior software engineer at imagekit.io. I am a Harry Potter fan as well. I'm a Potterhead. Not, I think Dobby is not my favorite character. My favorite character is Snape. Yeah, so apart from that, I also build microsasses, and I think that's what I mostly do outside of my work. When Prem asked me that, he would want me to be here for like a 5-minute session, I was not sure what to do in 5 minutes. Like, 20 minutes is like a good enough time to speak something, but 5 minutes, I don't know. And I know we are all waiting for the pizza, so I think I'll just keep it very quick. So I'll talk about something very interesting, which is called web codecs. Can somebody tell me what is web codecs? What is videos? What are videos? In technical terms. Yeah, so basically videos are something which are like frames, which are, like a function of time, right? So we have like multiple frames over time, and that's how we create videos, right? Now, I'm sure everybody of you have heard of Loom, right? So when Loom came into existence, I think this is because of web codecs in a way, because all of these video editing tools that are more like real time now have actually been benefited because of web codecs. So web codecs is nothing but a browser API that helps you encode and decode and process videos within the browser. So initially what we used to do was we used to use something like FFmpeg or something like WebAssembly to bring the video encoder and decoder and processing to the web browser, right? But then that did not have the ability to use, the user's GPUs, right? So I think that is what web codecs changed, and that is how, the whole landscape of video editing changed. So if you talk about something, on the aspect of why it is cool, I think it is very cool because of hardware acceleration. It helps you use the user's GPU to process videos on the browser in the real time. And that is what Loom does, right? So if you have probably recorded like a Loom video, you would have seen that, as soon as you click, record, you finish recording, all that happens is you just open up the Loom page and you see the video going on, right? So the encoding, it happens in the real time. That is what it provides, right? So it is basically cool because of this, right? Now, for somebody who does not understand all these web codecs and raw videos, let me just give you a very basic example. So when I don't know if anybody of you have been a video editor here. If you would have, then you might use something like Premiere Pro to create raw videos which are like 2 GB, 3 GB, right? You cannot really stream them over the web browser, right? So you need something to compress those videos, encode it, and then stream it live, right? So web codecs does exactly that for you. It does the encoding part to convert it into something like H264 or VP9 or VP8, which basically compresses it and makes it good for streaming on the fly, right? Now decoding. So decoding also something which web codecs does. So decoding is something when you actually need to play the video in, let's say, a YouTube player or something like Video.js or something, right? So you need to decode the video back into something that the user can see, right? So that is also something which web codecs does. I'll just quickly show you what are the benefits of using web codecs and who all are using web codecs. So the reason I decided to talk about this is because we were researching at ImageKit how we could, probably bring about, some basic tools like video editing and all those on the browser. So there was this tweet by somebody. I don't know if you can see it here. But what he did was he tried something to do with web codecs and he created some video conversion tools which work in the browser using the user's GPUs, right? So we decided to do the same at ImageKit, and we created a handsome of those tools, and all of these work in the browser and using the user's GPUs. So we don't have to bring in costly servers to do the processing. Goodbye FFmpeg. So all of this works based on this. Now there's another interesting example. I can actually show you. There's something called. So there are numerous blogs around this. But then there's something called Remotion. So Remotion basically helps you create these videos using React code within the browser. So for example, this is a video that is basically nothing but a combination of different frames, which are, probably put in such a way and, with different animations. This is actually being rendered as a video in the browser, right? So this is what, web codecs provides for us. I'm sure everybody knows about Spotify Wrapped and GitHub Wrapped and so many tools, right? So these are something which are called dynamically programmed videos, and all of this happens because of web codecs. So whenever you need to insert your username within a video, that is what web codecs does for you. So I think this would have given you like a gist of what is happening in the world with videos and how we can actually use videos to create amazing tools. And yeah, you can have my pizza slice. So yeah, that'll be all from my side.
Thank you, Harshit. Thank you so much for this. Thanks a lot. The last one will be, we'll invite Manish here. You must be knowing him very well from all the meetups. So yes, he will talk about general perspective in IT. And please welcome him. With finance.
Thank you, Prem. Hey, hi friends. My name is Manish. I'm basically a pure software engineer like you guys, a 15 years of tech experience. I'll just take another 5 minutes. What I'm going to talk about is not something which you've been seeing it in the past, which is all tech. I'll go slightly non-tech in nature about what is that which our experience has been and what is that which our learning has gone through us, right? And what is that which is important for you? I know for a lot of you, you would have seen me talking about it, but I'm going to keep reiterating it until it really goes deep into your heart. The first thing, right, is in a career, right? Since we all start with a software engineer, you move it the ladder, you become a tech, you become an architect, you become a VP. That's how we all progress in India, right? Typically in every Indian IT. So the first thing which I really learned and which I followed it from the day one and made me really worked well for a lot of us is owning your career. The first and the most important. Decide what you want to do, how do you want to navigate it, what projects do you want to work on, what is that which really excites you. Guys, remember one thing, apart from you, nobody else in the world knows what you're really excited about. So until you follow your hearts and do what really works for you, nobody else will be able to help you. So the first and foremost, decide what kind of projects you want to do it, how do you are navigating it. If it is not working out, what can you do to make it work for you, right? If that involves bringing a credibility to your manager, bring that up, ask him for a request, right? What is it which you want to do, what really excites, and how does the current business will suit your address. Because if you don't do it, believe me guys, there will be some point in your life where you will regret this, right? So that is first thing. Second thing which I really want to talk about is noise. This is a era where we are flooded with noises. Okay, when I say noise, given that I'm a mobile architect by profession, click of a button is what really screwed a lot of us. You have so many noises, you want everything instant. That has really screwed us a big time. There's nothing in life which comes very fast, right? It takes time, it takes an effort to actually come up to that level. So in this, right, what I really want to convey is, guys, there's a lot of noises, right? We all want to do a lot of things in our life, right? We want to make money, we want to keep our people safe, happy, right? And a lot of other desire, buying a car, buying a house, right? A lot of things. But remember one thing, guys, the desire never goes away. As in when you keep growing in your life, you realize this is a human basic nature. There's nothing wrong in it. But the problem that's really happening now in today's world is you really don't know what to actually take it to the top and what which you can discard it. Okay, so if I say in our life, right, you can't achieve everything in our life. Nobody have done. But what you can do is to figure out, prioritize your stuff. What is that which you really want to do it? Take top 3, and believe me, even if you are able to fulfill your top 3, your life will be called successful in your own perspective. Right? So take care of your first 3 top desire. Don't get aligned with noises. The difference between when you are passing out or when you are starting your career and when we started, right, there were no noises for us. We were very clear from the day one what we want to do it, how do we want to do it, and we did it. Right? But the problem with this generation, and it's not your fault, guys, it's the timing which has changed. Machines have become more advanced. Right? You have a lot of noises, and noises bring distraction, which takes you away from your focus goals. So until you are really focused, right, what is it which you want to do it, at what point, when, how long, how much will you be able to afford the failure, how much will you take it forward, right? That you only have to decide. So take the top 3 best out of your 10 list and make sure at least top 3, if you work it, that's good enough, right? And the last important, which I see, is finance. Guys, everything that you do will have to translate to monetary benefits, right? We, at the end, we all work for money. But you really, as an IT engineer, right, what we realize is we talk a lot about code, tech, everything, but we don't talk much about money, right? But at the end of the day, it's the money which is driving us internally at some point. Not all the time, but yeah. And most of the times, money is the one which gives you a kick. So realize making money from money is another ball game, right? So if you have 100, say 100%, right, at least 10% of your time should go in how do you invest money? How do you make money from money? At least create a pipeline that in case if anything happens to you for your corporate job, you should be able to survive at your own, right? So what I'm coming up to is a passive income, figuring out what really takes to even just bring a 5,000 per month at your own, right? While being in the corporate obligation, obviously you're not going to break it. If the employer is saying it, you will have to align with their policies because they are our bread and butter. But while being in the corporate obligations, what is that which you can learn and do it when the time really comes up? Learn about investment, right? How does the market works? A lot of people I amaze in IT, even at this stage, a lot of people do not know how to file their income tax. I mean, that's one of the most pathetic way, guys. If you still don't file your income tax, you will have to really learn it, guys. It takes hardly 2 days of figuring out, all googling out, right, what are different sections and all. But these are very basic etiquettes, right? People do not know how does the index works, right? If you're going to make money, guys, we all have made a lot of money only just by investing in stock market, and that's a fact. But we played our card very softly and for a very longer time, right? So you will have to know that if you have to invest, right, what are different investments, including your, right? We as a salary class have a very great asset called EPF, guys. A lot of people tend to ignore. Employee Provident Fund is one of the very great asset that we have. Use it to the max. Public Provident Fund is also not a bad investment. Okay, 7.5, a lot of people will say that it's a very bad investment. But to whoever I have asked, right, if they have made around 5 CR, everyone told me, Manish, PPF is actually a great investment. because the mindset that it changes you, right? Every single month, the consistent investing is what really helps you. So you will have to spend some time to understand, make mistake, correct it. But remember, every money that you make, right? It should help you when you are not making a money for yourself. In India, when you don't have a job, right? Nobody's going to pay us. Unlike in Europe or UK or US, right? Where you get paid for not having a job, at least some amount. We don't have anything. So until you really back up for yourself, nobody else in the world will help you, right? So these are the few things. And then, okay, I think I'm good for the time. So that's it, guys. Hope it helps. Thank you.
Thank you, Manish. Thank you so much. Now I'll request Sanket to come on the stage for the speaker gift, please. Please come. Guys, can I have a round of applause? Anubhav, Anubhav, please come on the stage for the speaker gift. Guys, can we have a huge round of applause, please, for him? Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. I request Harsh, please come. Guys, again, huge round of applause, please, for him. Thank you again. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah. So we are in the end of the session now, and thank you so much, everybody, to joining on time and on Saturday, of course. This is one of the difficult job for everybody to come on Saturday. I understand how you have invested your time, which is not easy at all. So thank you so much from our bottom of my heart. So can we have a huge round of applause for everybody? And yes, Bhushan, can we have a snapshot for the poll which you have given today? And yes, this was a incredible thing. See, it's 10%, 90% dark mode. So yes, was a good one. Please have a clap. For this, we have already a gift for you as a goodies. You can just go to Sasana. You can meet and she will help you out for the stickers and also pens as well. For this, that's for everybody over there itself. Okay. And we can now take a group pictures for everybody. It is outside. So I will request you, everybody, to come and we can have a group pictures. After that, of course, pizza is there for you. Please come.